Welcome, everyone, to the Vision Straight Masterclass series. As you can see, I'm one of the most handsome, intelligent, brilliant minds in the eye care industry, Dr. Jacobi Cleaver. Sometimes in the eye care industry, you meet personalities like myself, whom, because of the work that we do, we tend to be in front of the camera, and we are out there on social media platforms trying to get the industry to where the industry needs to get to. However, there are lots of industry professionals and trailblazers who are working behind the scenes, doing incredible work. And you'll soon get to discover why Dr. Cleaver is here on the Masterclass series today, because he is exactly one of those individuals whom are doing exceptional work. And perhaps you are not aware of who Dr. Cleaver is, but I bet you definitely know the work that he has been doing. Doc, welcome to the Vision Straight Masterclass series. And by the way, if you're tuning here for the very first time, my name is Obi, and I'm based here in South Africa, the motherland. And it's a great privilege for us to be out in the United States of America today with this incredible colleague and brother of mine. How are you, Doc?
Man, I'm great. I'm great, and so kind with the words, man. So free with the adjectives and compliments. I appreciate that, man. But no, thanks for having me. I watched the interview you did with Dr. Ramsey last week, and it was pretty good. I have to double back and watch the one with Dr. Johnson and catch up on the rest of the series. But you're doing a really great thing, man. And as we just alluded to, even if we're not in the same room, Zoom and these different streaming platforms puts us in the same room. So thanks for having me here, man. Let's get into it.
Absolutely, absolutely. If you're tuning with us for the very first time on this Masterclass series, the Masterclass series was designed to showcase what eye care excellence looks like in multiple aspects of the profession. There are people who are doing exceptional work from a clinical point of view. There are people who are doing exceptional work from a business point of view, and as well from an academic point of view. And so we are all at different stages in our career or in our businesses or in the industry. Some of you watching are doing first year optometry school, and you've got a dream, a vision to get to a certain level one day. Whereas other people have already reached so many milestones, but perhaps have reached a plateau in their respective careers or businesses. And these masterclass series, what we have noticed over the last month or so, have really served as a gateway to help us connect with one another so that we can learn from people who have already been doing exceptional work, and perhaps some of the lessons that they have learned or overcome could be lessons that you, including myself, can be able to pick up from and implement in our respective competency areas within the profession. Dr. Cleaver, before we even get into what we're going to be talking about today, who are you? How did your journey in eye care begin? And what do you currently do right now in the eye care industry?
Yeah. So, I got interested in optometry, like most people would say, from really just going to the first eye exam. And at the time, man, it was an older gentleman that was giving the exams, and they had all at the time, the state of the art of equipment and everything. And he was really receptive about answering questions. Man, I must have been about 11, 12 or something like that, right? So, my mom packed my brother and I up and took us down to get the deal. And I'm like, man, this doesn't look too bad, right? Because like I said, this gentleman was old at the time. He was really just shuffling from exam room to exam room, like he couldn't even pick up his feet. And he doesn't look like he's carrying a lot of stress at all, man. So that was probably my initial introduction to optometry. Went to the University of Houston for undergrad. Joined the pre-optometry club. From there, I was introduced to, I would say I was made aware of a program called Texacop. And it was just a 6-week summer program, which was targeted for minority students who were interested in optometry. And I think at the time they took like maybe 14 or 15 students. So you had to apply and get accepted and those kind of things. They put you up in housing, and then it's just 6 weeks of optometry, is vision screenings, is this, that, and the third. And if I'm not mistaken, at least 8 people out of the 15 from that class did go on to become optometrists.
Wow.
So it's very impactful to do things like that. That's why when I speak to the student, I'm like, man, you guys, if there's a summer program that one of these colleges is offering, you need to go. Like, if you're interested, then you need to go. So that's how I did the Texacop program. That's where I meet Dr. Johnson. At the time she was going to school up in Prairie View, which is like northwest of Houston. So she came down for that. That's how I met her. The following year, and in between that, I applied for optometry school after the program, 2 schools. I didn't get accepted into either one, but the Pennsylvania College of Optometry told me about another summer program, the summer enrichment program. I was like, cool, I go to Philly for 6 weeks. And this program is similar to Texacop, but it's just a little bit more immersive in the sense that you're just doing more like first year coursework and those kind of things. And both programs are similar in the sense that you have current students that are kind of like tutoring you and stuff throughout the program. So I go there. Again, Dr. Johnson is there. She's getting ready to start school that year. So this is kind of like an intro for her. For me, it's more of like, can I show and prove type thing, right? And guess who else is there at the summer enrichment program? None other than America's favorite optometrist, Dr. Daryl Glover, man. And so
the whole eye care community's favorite optometrist.
That's right, man. And like I said, and then you don't even know that these things are happening when they're happening, right? Like, I had no idea that that's who Dr. Glover was going to become, and that's who Dr. Johnson was going to become. Hey, because back in the day when we always just trying to get into school, it's Kobe Daryl in essence. It wasn't no doctor anything, right? So so following that program, successful completion of the program, I did apply to PCO fairly early, and then I get accepted, and graduated class of 2011. Went on to do a residency, which that had some bumps. Getting to the residency had some bumps in the road. I didn't match to any of my top 3 choices. So kind of when the dust settled, I got a call from Dr. David Trout, who's at the VA hospital out here. He asked me, he told me that, well, we have a position open. We'd love to have you if you want to come. I packed up my stuff and I went. At the time, my longtime girlfriend, I'm not sure if she was really just excited about it because I just spent 4 years in Philly, so to the pit stop in Houston and then go to Amarillo. Wow. I don't know if she was exactly feeling that, but she definitely was supportive of the move, and it was just a year, and it worked out, man. But so in my current position, I'm at the Baylor College of Medicine, Department of Ophthalmology. I don't practice on main campus. I think that's kind of where it gets confusing, but I actually practice at one of the Harris County community clinics, right? So most of these community clinics are staffed by doctors, such as myself, that affiliated with or employed by Baylor or the UT branch out here, and they staff these community clinics and everything. So, that's my like 9 to 5 type, job, right? But
I wanted to ask you something, because we've got so many people from different parts of the world listening, and in their countries, optometry perhaps functions a bit differently in America. And so one thing that you mentioned was residency, which is something that you have to now be faced with post you qualifying as an optometrist. What is actually residency, and how does that actually work for someone who's sitting in Greece and wants to know more about the whole concept or idea around residency, so that they get context of what you're talking about?
Yeah, man, great question. I didn't even think about that. Great question. So residency is an additional year, or some programs even offer an additional 2 years of training, clinical training. And you're under a preceptor or a residency director, and you just see patients based off of that. Now you can specialize if you want to do low vision, you want to do contact lenses, you want to do, pediatrics, then all of those are options. But the thing about optometry here is that residency is optional. So, so you don't have to do it. But in my time, and of course I'm pro residency, I would think that, if anyone's interested in doing it, I would definitely encourage them. But if you're not interested in it, then there's nothing wrong with that either. It's definitely an optional thing. Now, coming out of school, I didn't feel like I wasn't I felt like I was competent in clinic, but it's just something that once I got in my head that I wanted to do, then that's what I did.
Do you get paid when you are in residency?
Well, they pay, but it's not near what the compensation would be if you just entered the workforce straight out. Now let's put it like that. I spent a lot of time on what they call out here moonlighting on the weekends, like providing office coverage, just to make some money.
We call it locuming. So you guys call it moonlighting. We refer to it as locuming. No, I get you. Because, for example, in South Africa, it's a 4-year program. And when you qualify as an optometrist and you've got the big bucks,
right.
access to the resources, you can go and open up your own practice. A few years ago, they tried to initiate what they call a compulsory community service, where in a year or two, immediately after you graduate, you serve within the local public sector community where you are based, and you do that for like a year or two. So all the other healthcare disciplines, except optometry in South Africa, they get to do that. South African optometrists, we literally get to choose where we want to be placed immediately or where we want to work. So it's very interesting how it works with you guys. Now, when it comes to, that was years back. Now, in terms of where you are working, you're obviously working a lot with ophthalmologists. There's a lot of competency areas that are involved in your day-to-day work, if I can refer to it as that. What area of competency are you focused on right now, or that you are interested in that typical 9 to 5 that we can refer to it as?
Yeah, just the patient base that I see, it comes with a lot of ocular disease, mainly with diabetes being at the top, cataracts and glaucoma probably tying for 2. So I didn't think that I would be doing as much glaucoma coming out of school, but this is where we are. And I'm pretty confident with that. But like I said, you just kind of tailor yourself to the patient base, right? So, and I don't do, at the community health, I don't do any contact lenses at all. And someone say, hey, well, don't you miss it? Well, not really, but because the demand isn't for contact lenses, it's for everything else. So, in my practice, you'll get a bunch of patients, the underinsured, the no insured patients, the at-need patients. So, it's not uncommon for someone to be 40, 50, 60 years old to come in, or maybe even older than that, to come in and say, Doc, I've never had an eye exam.
Wow.
And then and that's where we are with it. But, if you step back and you look at it from the outside, you're like, well, it makes total sense. If said patient didn't have access to care, regardless of where they were born, they didn't have access to care, then it makes total sense. Or, this is where optometry has to do a better job of promoting itself, that, having an eye exam should be a public service announcement. Like that, it should pop up. Like there should be one unified message that pops up from one edge of this earth to the other saying you should get your eyes checked, and to start getting them checked at an early age, right?
Wow. I like that. One thing you made me realize is that sometimes social media portrays certain key areas of optometry, and it glamorizes certain aspects of the industry because perhaps maybe the particular optometrist is popular in a particular setup, and it makes that competency area very attractive. But you have literally changed my perception or perspective, because you said you understand the community that you are based in, your patient database, and you have immersed yourself within the context of the community that you are serving, and you decided to thrive and excel in that. And I think a lot of people, they miss out on a lot of opportunities where they don't have a deep understanding of where their practice is located, where they are practicing, the patient base, the age demographics, the economic demographics, and they find themselves being frustrated in a particular environment, but not realizing that they did not put themselves in a particular environment and understand what it will take for them to thrive in that respective environment. So in your case, you're not necessarily operating in your typical optometric setup that we always see on the social media platforms or all over the world. What are some of the practical things that you did in then saying, I don't know this within this community. I don't know this about the patients. How do I then go about and learning, exposing myself, elevating my game so that I can give my patients the very best, irrespective of the socioeconomic status that they present with at the optometric practice or the clinic?
Yeah, first off, man, treat everybody with respect. And when a patient comes in, let's say you're on patient number 15, and it's the 15th time today that you've seen diabetic retinopathy. Wow. And you may be getting tired of trying to explain it just because you don't explain it, I'm just the 15th time I'm said this today. But keep in mind that the patient sitting in the chair, this is the first time he or she's heard that.
I love
right?
that.
So treat everybody with respect. I mean, don't discount any of the patient's chief complaints. Like, they have a reason for coming in. Just listen to it. And I'll be honest with you, some of the things the patients say to me, I don't know if I'm the best one to address that, but I know who can. And let's refer you over to that thing. But the patient, especially if it's the first time coming in, OB, really take your time to explain these things to them and the importance of it. So and I will see some kids from time to time, and I'm talking to the kids, the parents in the room, and when I finish up with the eye exam, I tell the kid, I look the kid right in the eye, I say, hey man, or you did great today, but you only got 2 eyes. Let's see you next year, right? And then then I'm telling the kid this, and then I'll tell the parent, hey, bring the kid back in about a year. So now the kid knows that it's important to come. And I've actually had people come, like little kids, 7-year-old or 8-year-olds come back a year later and say, you told me to come back. Yeah, that's exactly what I said. And even if they're not having any issues, but now they know the importance in that. Your health, you can't delay taking care of yourself. It's some of these things, if you wait too long, then the consequences could be dire. If not catastrophic, right? So you can't wait to do any of these things. I know we coming from an eye care space, but we talking about overall general health. Like, start doing these things early, and be in the know. Like, you don't want to. I have patients say, "Well, I just don't want to know." Like, why would you not want to know? Like that's insane to me. You got end-stage glaucoma. You don't want to know. Like, you're a 45-year-old truck driver. Like, in this sense, this condition has the propensity to change everything about your life, like from how you make a living, how you earn your money, how you have your independence, if you're a driver or anything like that. Like, this condition can change everything about your life, but not for you, but for the people around you as well.
Wow. I love how you highlighting multiple aspects of patient education, because at the end of the day, it does not really matter the great products, the great practice, the great eye doctor, if you can't literally get to the level of the patient and communicate with them in the manner in which they will be able to understand you. So it leads me to realize that trust then is very, very important for you in patient care. Is it something that you've always had, or did you have to develop? What are some of the things that you did not have when you look back in optometry school, and 10 years later now, you are having those qualities that makes you better at what you do? What would you say, I don't know how many, but what would you say are those key characteristics about what you do on a day-to-day basis that you had to go and develop on your own over time? Do you mind going into detail about that?
Yeah, for sure. I think I know optometry school, any school you choose out here, in 4 years, you're gonna be a competent clinician, whatever school you go to. I think, and then even when you're going through school and then you're having a patient encounters, is more robotic, in a sense that, well, I have to check the right eye first, and then the left eye for distance. Then I have to go back and check both eyes for distance. Then I have to check the right eye, then the left eye for up close, right? So everything's a little bit more robotic. Now, I would say, in my experience, OB, like, I don't see a lot of what they call textbook cases And I relay that to the students. Look at when you're learning about dendritic keratitis or whatever, like know that this presents in multiple different ways. Like it doesn't just have this nice picture that's in this book. Like it may not look like that when it comes in, maybe, but those are the things I kind of had to learn on my own. Like it doesn't have to. Everything has variability. And once you realize that, and you know how to answer, ask questions. That's it, OB. That's one of the big things. Like asking the right questions to get answers in order to get the information you need to develop, at least a working understanding of what's going on, man. Like a lot of my patients, English isn't their first language, so we use the translation services and for that. And some things get lost in translation. But you have to kind of go back, or maybe, I start thinking, well, maybe I didn't ask the question right. Let me see if I can rephrase it. And then that way it makes a lot of sense. But those are some of the things I learned just kind of being in practice, man. Don't be afraid of a little humility. You're not perfect. You wasn't born perfect. You will die imperfect, and that's fine. But I think if you can just really get on the patient's level, like if you explain in glaucoma, like the patient isn't interested in how aqueous is formed, pressure, and that kind of stuff. They're interested in how this is going to impact their lives, and why is it necessary to use the eye drop, or why this referral for said glaucoma surgery is necessary. So, don't be so robotic. I even tell my staff that, like, you guys don't be so robotic. Like if a patient is coming in for a red eye, then you don't really have to spend a whole bunch of time asking about the last eye exam. You need to spend all your time about when, why, what's, and where's about this red eye. Like that's what I'm concerned with. Like my staff would come in and say, well, this patient had an injury 40 years ago. And the patient's saying 2020. Well, what kind of injury is it? Yeah, well, I don't know. It's 40 years ago. Well, why is the patient here today, right? So let's focus on those things. Like you don't have to be so robotic, so mechanical. Like the profession is fluid. Every patient isn't the same, so you have to approach them slightly different ways. Like as you can see, like sometimes I can go in with my patients and I can have more like a laid back nature. We're kind of joking, talking, chatting. Some of my patients, they're not interested in any of that. They trying to come in here, get the eye exam and get the heck on, man. But I made it a point, like at the end of each of my patient interactions, I ask them if they have any questions. If there's an awkward silence, I say, I know you have a question. You're just afraid to ask.
Wow.
It's just me and you in this room. Ask away. There's no dumb questions in here. Like just ask away, right? So, because like I said, when you use the translation services, a lot can get lost in translation. So, be making sure the patient understands what's going on before you leave, and as the practitioner, also making sure that you understand what's going on with the patient when they come in the room. Then at the end, you guys can arrive at the finish line at the same time, right? Wow. So, yeah, I think, like I said, just from in my experience, I think, you have to be humble enough to know that you are imperfect, mistakes will happen. But, if as long as you operate in the best interest of the patient, 9 times out of 10, that's acceptable, just from what I learned. I've had, I've made goofs where I left off the ad power on in a 55-year-old patient. Hey, doctor, I can't see up close. You're absolutely right, man. I apologize, man.
But what I'm loving about your responses is that when we do these masterclass series, we would know what the person does, and we would want to unpack that, right? But then the masterclass, every one of these masterclasses, they end up taking a different direction altogether. Because like right now, you're schooling us on what it actually means by sticking to the basics and how you need to excel in the basics. What you say is literally what was being said in first year optometry school about your approach to the case history. And 10 years later, you're still doing it the way we were taught it. It's just that you've learned to modify it, enhance it, elevate it so that the patient experience is going to be top notch with every single patient. So I'm loving your approach, and I know that a lot of people, as they're listening to this, they're going to be cracking at themselves, realizing that, you know what, we sometimes make this so difficult when it's not, because if you have the best
Right.
interest of the patient, like you have alluded to right now, it makes the process easier, because you interacting with the patient on their level, you're gaining their trust. And when they trust you, it builds loyalty. They're confident in this doctor, this optometrist has got the best interest for me. And whatever that you're going to recommend, it's going to be what they're going to go with, irrespective of affordability, because they trust you. And so I think you're giving us so many pearls of wisdom on trust. And it leads me to my next segment, when I realized that you're not a one-dimensional leader. And I realized something about you is that you're so passionate, so committed to what you're currently doing in your day-to-day job as an optometrist, but yet the best form of leaders are those that give away their time, their resources, their knowledge, their expertise to the next generation, so that everything that they learned, they can pass it on, so that it makes it easier for the next people to be able to take whatever that they have taken or can take from that person and go beyond what you are doing. And so you and Dr. Essence are part of something incredible. Right at the start of this interview, you mentioned pre-optometry club. Can you give context to someone sitting in Italy, someone sitting in the Netherlands, someone sitting in Ghana, to give context, what is a pre-optometry club in the context of optometry or America, and what is that all about? And what did you and Dr. Essence Johnson end up coming together and decide to do?
Yeah, a pre-optometry club is just that. It's just pre-optometry students in a club that have the same interest of one day possibly becoming an optometrist. That's the gist of it. That's the bottom line of it. When I went to U of H, I joined the club, and it meant a lot, you know, at the time, you know. And I think even when Dr. Johnson was up at Prairie View, that they had an optometry club, pre-optometry club as well. But, you know, to kind of back up, just rewind to 2 years ago, then this is, you know, we're coming off of, we're right in the middle of COVID, not exactly knowing what that is, and shutdowns and all of that. And not to mention there's the George Floyd situation that's going on, and the kind of pile on of that. We also had the Ahmaud Arbery thing that was just fresh and new, and we're learning the details about that. So I was honestly just sitting in the room, in our theater room with my wife, who was just watching TV and the news and everything. Like I said, at the time, the news was just COVID, George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery. That was it. So I'm just sitting there, and Essence texted me and said, Dr. Johnson texted me and said, let's start an optometry club. All right, okay, cool, let's do it. And then, and you know, we came up with the name. We decided we was gonna meet on the 13th of every month. I think this is like in June or July. So we had our meeting in our first meeting in August 2020. Wow. We had like 7 to 8 people on the call, man. And then we had a speaker as well. I think Ms. Page was our first speaker. But we got off the Zoom, and it lasted about an hour and a half or something. We got off the Zoom like, oh man, I think we may really have something here, man, because we didn't think anybody was going to show up. So to have 7 people show up to the first meeting, Zoom meeting, really meant a lot, right? So now, you know, to fast forward to now, we have over 110 student members. I want to say like 35 have just completed their first year of optometry school. We have about another 25 or 30 that's entering optometry school this year. And it's just like what you said now. So because you build this community, and even though the club means a lot to me, because you alluded to reaching like a plateau, in which I was definitely at a plateau at that time. So the club was kind of like the rebirth of me, or the remix or whatever of me, you know, like jumping right back head first into optometry. Like, yeah, this is excellent. Because when you see the students and they're excited about, hey, Dr. Cleaver, because I get text messages, calls, emails, all times of day, all times of night. Dr. Cleaver, I just got invited for an interview at said school, or Dr. Cleaver, I just got accepted into said school. Thank you so much for all this. And you know, it means a whole bunch, but to build the community. And then we have the first year students who are becoming second years. Now they want to be involved, you know, not that they was ever not involved with the club, but now they want to be involved with the club even more so.
Yeah.
Now they're paying it back.
Wow.
And then that's the whole gist of the club. So as they matriculate through school, you give back to the lower classmen. And that's how it works. Like hey, Obi, I don't want to give away my age or anything, but it's been a long time since I was in school. So and things have changed immensely since I was in school.
You look very
So
good, brother. You're looking very
oh, thank you.
you're taking very good care of yourself.
Man, I try to, man. It's hard to do. I actually was doing some cardio this morning before I hopped on this deal, man. But just to keep it honest, but just to for the students to pass it down, like I said, if a student's interested in going to PCO, and we have students at PCO already, well, don't ask me about housing. don't ask me about where to stay. Hey, it's been 10 years, 11 years since I've been over there. Like, ask the current students, what do they recommend? And then that way you build the relationship with them. And then that kind of, not that it pushes me and Dr. Johnson to the side, but I want the students to have what me and Dr. Johnson and Dr. Glover had when we first met each other, and we latched on each other and got through school. So this is what it takes.
What, in the context of a young person determining where their journey professionally is going to be, what are some of the challenges that young people who are interested in optometry are facing in America right now?
Yeah, man.
What role do you guys then play in terms of what are some of the practical aspects of the support? Are you guys connecting with them with the potential schools? Are you helping them in terms of mentorship? What are the challenges and what are the practical day-to-day stuff that you find students asking you guys over and above more than one student every single day, basically?
Right. Yeah. I have to preset by saying that the students are very accomplished. Wow. With the undergraduate and those kind of things. Now, there's some that need more help than others, and some just, most all just want to be a part of the community. But, the first thing I tell the students, and that's why we want to try catching them earlier, like in high school, like what you do in undergraduate or in college matters. It's not enough for you to be a good student. Like, you have to be involved with other things, whether it's a sorority, a fraternity, student government, volunteering. You have to be involved with other things, man. You have to. And if you don't perform well in the class, recognize that you're not performing well in the class and withdraw from the class. Here in the States, we say, take the W instead of taking the F. Why? It's easy to explain why you withdrew from class. It's hard to explain why you got an F and stayed in it, because that means that you was doing bad from the jump, right? And we have to be honest with these things. When the school invites the students for an interview, that means that they're interested, right?
Wow.
So they see something in you that they have to, when they accept people in the school, they have to, we'll offer acceptance to Obi, but we need Obi to get through the program. Like, it's not enough to get accepted. You got to come in there and finish, man. Hey, we adults said, there's no playing around. Like, you're investing a lot of time, a lot of money. We need you to get through the program. But what we found with the students, Obi, is that in a lot of the cases, there's no pre-optometry club on campus anymore, or the advice that they get from the counselors on whatever school, college, campus that they own doesn't exactly line up with what the optometry is. So you can go in and say, oh, yeah, I'm interested in optometry. And then the counselor who's wearing glasses said, I don't know anything about that. Right? Wow. It sounds mind-blowing, right?
Wow.
But the reason I'm telling you this, Obi, because it happens a lot. So and I won't say, well, I'll use the name, Isabel. She's currently a second-year student at the Kentucky School of Optometry. Huh? Now, the name Isabel doesn't mean a whole lot just by me saying it. But let me tell you Isabel's background. She's a trained OR nurse.
Wow.
Now, when Isabel went through school and she mentioned that she was interested in optometry, counselor told her, nah, I don't think so. Why don't you go be a nurse? Sure. That's exactly what she did.
Sure.
Circles back. Now she's in optometry school. And we talking about someone who's knee deep in their profession. She doesn't have to change anything. She's stopping her salary
Wow.
to attend school. Like that means a lot. And you know, I hate to say, but that stories like Isabel isn't very unique. Like it comes up quite often in the club. Like, well, yeah, somebody told me not to even pursue optometry, or there's not enough interest on it on the campus from it. So I'm just glad to be a part of something to where I'm surrounded by 100 other people who have the same goals as me. Yeah, for sure, man. And we do provide mentorship. We try to connect the students with mentors in their areas, and that, because there's no law saying that you can't have more than one mentor. You can have as many mentors as you want to. You know, in fact, I would recommend it. Like if you have, like me, I'm in community health. I can tell you about community health. Dr. Ramsey can tell you about private practice. As far as that's concerned. So that's and we do offer OAT prep with some of our agreements and partnerships with some of the prep services out here. There's a professional service that we offer to the students through Warby Parker, which is, specifically Brianna and Reggie help them get those resumes in order. They help them, help prep them for interviews and whatever. And the Kentucky OAT grant was really astute with providing, we'd be out here just providing money for the OAT test, study materials for that. Like there's a lot. Like the AOSA had the opportunities in optometry grant, which provides the students with $1,500 to use as they see fit. Like that's insane. Like if you if you traveling, because it's expensive to go. I mean, these Zoom interviews are cool, man, but like the in-person interview it works. What works? Like you need to be on campus to see, feel, and experiencing it, man. Right? So $1,500 for plane tickets, hotel. Get you, hey man. Guys, get your suit ready. Ladies, get dressed to the nines. Like we stepping on campus and we dressed to impress. We're ready to answer these questions. We're ready to kill this interview, and we gonna look like $1 million doing it. So that's what we offer. And then we also just offer just unrivaled, just continued support, man. That's what the students need. Just continued support.
Wow, this is insane, because I realized that there's a structure for it there by you guys, but you know how many countries would actually benefit from something like that? I don't realize that. I don't think you realize the need on a global stage, because a lot of countries, they don't have organizations or institutions that bridge that gap. What are some of the challenges with access to optometry schools when it comes to people of color in America? And when I say people of color, Hispanics, African Americans, all the different minorities. Is it extremely difficult for them to get access into optometry schools? And why is that?
I don't think it's particularly difficult for them to gain access into optometry school. I just think that the pool of applicants is small.
Oh.
So that's what we're working at. So we need to make sure we recognize these, anybody, period, interested in optometry at an early age. That way they don't get discouraged on that road, and they just kind of give up or whatever. But that's the most important thing. Recognize them early, support them, and let's avoid this discouragement. Because if you navigate, like if you're 17, 18, 19, and you're matriculating through school and you decide you want to settle on optometry, but there's not a lot of support around you, and you feel like you're navigating it by yourself, like if you look at it, it's a lot. Like if one person looking at the requisites, the GPA requirements, and blah 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 for 23 different schools in the U.S., that's a lot, man. That's huge. Like, and then you don't know where to start. You got to take the OAT, and you don't know if you need to do a prep. You don't know how much the class costs. Like those are the things that we need to make sure that they recognize early. But if you can provide like an immersive, like I keep going back to these darn pre-optometry clubs, but if you can provide an immersive experience, then that's better. That's worth its weight in gold, man.
How has the last 2 years impacted or elevated how you see your role within the greater eye care community as a leader?
I would say
compared to what you said earlier on, you said you had been at that space where you just felt like something was missing. And obviously this role activated something powerful within you, and you're super passionate about it. So it will be interesting to find out exactly what has then transitioned within you in the last 2 years?
And I would say I've always, even though I felt like I reached a plateau, I hit the wall, whatever. I've always enjoyed my profession. Always. I've never not enjoyed it. Now, does that mean there's days where I don't want to be at work? Yeah, I'd rather be doing brunch or sitting watching a movie or sitting on the beach somewhere. Absolutely, who doesn't, right? But I think when you go back and then you find something that you can be a part of that means a lot, and then people buy into, then it runs on itself. So I would admit to you, Obi, the last couple of years of my professional career has been extremely exciting. Like I said, I've always enjoyed it, but the last couple of years has been amazing. Just from the people that we met, or the events that we've been a part of. As we know, we've done 2 Impact HBCU events. We've done 2 signing day events, which they seem to enjoy. They want to keep doing the signing day events. The students, as they gain entry into the optometry school, we'll keep doing it.
Wow.
Like I said, it doesn't matter to me. Like, it's not a celebration for me, but if you want to be placed on the platform, and your friends and your family get to be a part of that by doing the tribute videos, let's keep doing it. Wow. So yeah, the last 2 years have been amazing. And then to see every student that kind of comes in with, I don't care how accomplished they are on paper or how well they've done in undergraduate. There's always some doubt when they come into the club about if they can get into optometry school or not. Once that student gains entry in the optometry school, confidence shoots through the roof.
Wow.
I don't even do it justice explaining it. Well, I would say not even before they get accepted in school, just from getting the interview for a school.
Wow.
Through the roof. Yeah. And to watch them and to get those text messages, it seemed like the text messages and the emails always come through at the right time. Cleaver, I got into such and such school. What I need to do next? I say nothing. Chill for a little bit, soak it in. before you settle on your decision, man, just kind of pray about it, think about it, talk it over with your family, man, because it'd be the same person who got accepted into one school but still interviewing at 2 or 3 other schools. Hey, wait a minute, you still got some interviews. It feels good to be courted, it feels good to be wanted, and that's what we're trying to relay with the students. But when in choosing a school, we have to make sure it's the student's best fit. Right. So, we always ask them, what's your reason for going to school? Now, any school you go to is going to be fine. You're going to be an optometrist in 4 years. But the reason for going to a school on the West Coast has to be different from going to a school on the East Coast. Just weather, climate, those things make a huge difference.
Wow. I think you're really making me realize that there's a certain level of excitement that comes with being a part of something that's bigger than you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that there's just another dimension of leadership that you enter into, and you experience different rewards internally and externally when that which you are doing goes beyond you. And I don't think a lot of people are fortunate enough to be in spaces like that, where the work that they do directly involves another person. Right. If you drop the ball, a lot is at stake.
Thanks. Yeah, that's pressure. That's pressure. Yeah.
So what I wanted to find out from you, when kids now, is there a competition that takes place between the pre-optometry clubs?
No.
Oh, okay.
I would say no.
Okay.
I would say no, because our pre-optometry club, BEPPOC, isn't here to replace anything. It's supposed to be it's meant to be an extension of any existing club, meaning it's open to anybody who wants to join. Now, when you come in there and me and Dr. Johnson speak with you, now there's a level of expectations that we iron out. But for the most part, we let them know, hey, you're going to be the ones to get yourself in school. You're going to be the ones to get yourself through school. We're here to support. We're not getting you into school. So I'm not calling anybody on your behalf. I may write a letter of recommendation or something, but I'm not saying going to the admissions council, say, hey man, why don't you give OB a shot? I'm not doing any of that. You know, you get into school on your own merit, on your own merit and on accord, and get through it on your own merit and on accord, man. So, but I usually tell the students, and you know, it's not enough for me to tell the students, you know, like get on campus, get involved in whatever club that may interest you. Like I can't tell them that if I'm not doing it myself, right? So that kind of comes from me being more involved, getting more involved with the academy, trying to do more speaking engagements, lectures, and those kind of things. Because I can't tell the students to do it if I'm not doing it, right? So, and you know, my motto has become over the last couple of years, you know, try to you know, be a part of optometry or expand optometry outside of the patient care room, outside of the examination room, because you know, the profession is only as good as its members, and I want to make sure that I'm doing my part in contributing to that. You know, to the best of my ability. But yeah, Obi, last couple of years have been incredible, you know.
I wanted to ask you, as we wrap this up, because you're working with a lot of students, we have made mistakes. We were before the generation of social media. We were still writing love letters to our girlfriends at the time. we take Boys to Men there, All for One there, and all of those groups, and you're like, okay, let me combine the lyrics. And you know, we were not faced with so many pressures of life in terms of being relevant. I mean, you and I, we were not thinking about being relevant, being woke, being all of these things that young people are expected to deal with right now. Pressures of mental health, pressures of societal pressures, none of those things existed, or perhaps were not so out there during our time. Right. In you guys working with the students, and you're looking at their finances, do they ask you questions like that about how to handle their finances, how to navigate through the optometric schooling career? What will life look like once they have that certificate and they've graduated? And do you guys engage the students on things like that can help them become better optometrists one day, so that the mistakes that perhaps you and I made earlier on in our career, or many other leaders have done so, they don't have to go through those type of things, because they can learn from the mistakes, the lessons that we went through, so that they can go beyond what we have done?
Right. No, absolutely. Even as part of the club, we work with Mike Miller of B Forte. He's a performance psychologist, and he starts every meeting off with a mindful activity. It takes about 15, 20 minutes. And it's really just kind of exercising, you know, being off in the mental space. Make sure I say it right. It's the going down the path of possibilities versus, you know, the path of something else, you know. And if you're going down the bad path, how do you mentally pull yourself back up to get back on the path of possibility? It's very powerful stuff. But yeah, you know, our plan, you know, outside of them just needing to take out loans to go to school, you know, our plan is as they matriculate through school, is that, you know, get them set up, at least have a financial advisor come and speak to them about the finances and everything. Because, you know, it's easy. And like you said, Obi, it's easy to say, oh, okay, I'll just take out a loan to go to school. Well, in 4 years, once you graduate school and you're on this high and you're feeling good, but then after that 6-month grace period passes by and you get that loan bill, you're like, how in the heck did I borrow this much money? I remember I called Daryl, like, brother, this can't be right, you know? But no, you know, but I think the students are more in tune and in line with that. And, you know, even when I talk to some of the students, you know, they say, yeah, I'm really taking this serious, because it is expensive. I'm looking at ways to be able to pay back these loans when I get out of school, and you know, all those things. But, you know, the financial burden of it cannot be ignored. And I think the students are doing a very good job of recognizing that. Mental health standpoint, I've had students come to me and say, hey, man, I got linked up with a professional. I got linked up with a coach. I got linked up with a psychologist, and they're helping me through this. Man, do you know how powerful it is when you're in a group setting, and for one person to say that, and then everybody else who's on the call, eyes light up, because you're right, they're dealing with a lot of pressure, man. I mean, you know, there's war, there's COVID, there's this, there's that. These kids are carrying a lot, man, a lot. And then you have to recognize that, you know, it's okay to go speak to someone about that, man, a professional, someone who doesn't have any biases or one way or the other, right? So it makes a huge difference, man. But as we continue to build out the club, because we just we kind of make sure we give the students exactly what they want and need. So it's our plan to kind of implement, like bringing in financial planners, bringing in career development, and all these different things as they matriculate through school. Because we don't want them to get into school and then we forget about them, and then we don't want them to get through school and they get out and then we forget about them. We want them to always be able to make the decisions and what works best for them. The best advice that I've gotten, and it always sounds crazy when I say it, is that when you get a job, you can, as an optometrist, you can always quit. And that sounds terrible. Like when you say, yeah, I'm just gonna quit. No, I'm not going in there to tell your boss to kiss you behind or anything like that. But if another opportunity that comes along that really interests you, then you need to go pursue that, right? Just say, I found another opportunity I'm interested in. I appreciate what you've given me here, and then let's move on. I'm definitely not telling anybody, hey man, you can kiss my butt. I'm not coming to work. I'm done working here. Optometry is a small community. You may not want to be doing that too often because it's gonna come back and bite you at some point, man. So the students they're going into it now really knowing the possibilities, right? So you don't have to just be an optometrist that sees patients. Like if you want to be a global speaker like yourself, or you want to implement this, that, and the third, you want to go do mission trips and this, and you want to volunteer, you can go do all these things. You want to be a key opinion leader, you can go do all these things. But know that going into school. But hey, none of that's possible if you don't get through school. So get through school first, and then you can pursue all these different avenues, right?
I love that. Listen, man, Dr. Cleaver, what you guys are doing is absolutely incredible. And I love how intentional you guys are. You said something very powerful at the beginning. You said you don't do patient care as by the way. And I love the fact that you don't treat any student as just a number. Every single student matters. Whether it's 1 or 100, the work that you guys are doing, every single student, you guys are so passionate, so committed to seeing that one student go and become one of the best optometrists that they will ever become. And so we honor and we congratulate you guys on that, and we wish you an even bigger 2022, 2023, and that this will continue to grow beyond you guys and reach more and more students all over America. And the people that are watching from all over the world will be inspired by what this conversation has meant for them, and will take something from this and go implement it in their respective countries. For that student that is determining on the future of their career or their profession, where they want to go, what do you love the most about eye care? Now that you've been it for so long, what is it that you love the most about it that you will want students who are thinking about eye care to take home with?
Well, I mean, I won't give you the cliche answer about being able to help people. If you're in any medical field or profession, you helping people. That's the default. But I would say connecting with your colleagues, learning from your colleagues, man, because where you may have a shortcoming, someone may excel in.
I love that.
And you can kind of pick that up from them. Lean on your colleagues. Call them, man. I'm kind of, I'm in the process to where I'm kind of going through this rigorous case study deal or whatever. And I was thinking that I could navigate it by myself, but it's just a lot that I need. So I got set up with a mentor for that. 11-year optometrist practicing for over 11 years. Just got set up with a mentor. Right? So that's how powerful mentorship is. But I would say that's what I like the most about the profession, is that it's ever growing, it's changing. Optometrists are granted more privileges as you know, as time goes on, many states here, optometrists in many states here are able to practice laser treatments and minor surgical procedures, which is, I imagine that that's going to continue to grow. But I do like that. You know, the bells and whistles of the new equipment is always enticing. But you know, you can really forge whatever career, whatever path you want in optometry. If you just want to see kids all day, then go for it. You want to just do myopia control, then go for it. You know, dry eye management, go for it, man. There's just a lot of things that you can do here, and that's what I enjoy the most about it. Like, you know, even if the days seem the same, like no two patients are the same. So that allows you to kind of approach it with a certain sense of urgency and excitement. And that's what's kind of carried me through my 11 years, man. You know, and like I said, next 11, we'll see what happens, man. I'm looking forward to it, but you know, I think I'm really looking forward to our first student members getting ready to graduate, which is would be in 2025. So, you know, Dr. Johnson and I are kind of working out something to where, like, I would like to be able to, you know, if a sponsor's listening, I would like to be able to have like a film crew follow Dr. Johnson and I around, maybe even Dr. Glover and Dr. Ramsey if they want to be a part of it as well. Like, follow us around as we go to all these different graduations and see our students and present them with their flowers and that kind of stuff. I would love to do that. I'm trying to get Essence on board. She's down.
We're speaking it into existence right
now. Yes. We need someone to sponsor Dr. Johnson and us and I to go on tour for graduation, optometry graduation. How did that sound? That sounds great, right?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. You actually inspired me to do the same right here in South Africa, man. Wow. I love that. Where can people connect with you on the different social media platforms?
Yeah. You know, if you're interested in joining the club, at BEPPOC on Instagram. My handle is at JacobiCleaver.od.FAAO on Instagram, blackeyecareperspective.com. You know, Obi, we're just getting started, man. You know, some of the things I can't speak about because they hadn't been, the ink hadn't dried on the deal, but it's exciting what's coming. I would love to be an incoming student right now. If I had the backings of Black Eye Care Perspective and really just the industry as a whole, man, the industry really, this is what is unique about optometry. So, and you know, and I don't want to hold you up too long, but 2 years ago, when Black Eye Care Perspective jumped out there and it was, you know, with the 13% promise and initiative, the industry overwhelmingly responded, man.
Wow.
That's why optometry's here. Optometry's not going anywhere, man. It's here to stay. I know they say every year someone says optometry's got 10 years left. Nope. Optometry's not going anywhere. I can guarantee you that. I can promise you that. It's only going to get bigger and better from here, man.
Absolutely.
That's exciting. That's exciting.
Absolutely. What a masterclass episode. Wow. It was next level. I thoroughly enjoyed getting to know about you and the work that you guys are doing. Wish you all the best. Everyone, if you're not yet subscribed to the Vision Straight YouTube channel, subscribe right now. Make sure that you connect with us on the different social media platforms. Catch up with all the other episodes of the Masterclass series, because we guarantee you one thing: they will add value to you, irrespective of your role right now in the eye care profession. Until the next episode, take good care, everyone. Doc, it's been a great pleasure having you on the episode today, man.
Hey, man, thanks for having me. I really enjoyed it.
Wow. Take care.
Hey, man, we have to set one of these up where we have all the members of Black Eye Care Perspective e-board on here, man.
Like, I'm trying to set that up. Y'all are too busy, but I know we're going to do it very, very soon.
We can make it happen.
We're going to do it very, very soon. This was absolutely great. And that's going to be another level type of masterclass series. We need to make sure that we're ready for that, because that's going to be fire, man. That's going to be fire. Talking to you guys individually has been super hot, super amazing. And so I can't wait for us to all chop it up together. But Doc, be blessed. And may God continue to increase your territory so that you can continue doing the wonderful work that you're doing.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Obi, man. We'll talk soon, brother. Appreciate it.